I'm Alexis, and this is a quick boss guide for City of Threads, one of the new dungeons for the War Within. Before we start, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. It'll help my channel grow and I'll be able to put out more content more often. City of Threads is another dungeon taken over by the Nerubians, with a total of 4 bosses. First boss is Orator Krix'vizk. When the fight starts, a purple circle will surround the boss and players must fight inside the circle. Players that run out will be hit with shadow damage and the boss will pull them back in. The tank ability is Subjugate, where the boss hits the target with shadow damage and physical damage, reducing their movement speed by 30% for 10 seconds. Terrorize. A purple beam targets a player, inflicting shadow damage in a cone and forcing them to cower in fear for 4 seconds. Move out of the way. Vociferous Indoctrination is pulsing shadow damage, which after 4 seconds leaves a large lingering influence on the ground. Run out as soon as possible so that you can avoid imminent death. On Mythic, the boss infects players with Shadow of Doubt, a dispellable magic debuff. It will inflict damage for 6 seconds, and once it expires or is dispelled, it will explode, inflicting 1.8 million shadow damage to nearby players and stunning them for 3 seconds. So if you get the debuff, run away from others to keep them safe. Going to the second boss is a bit of an adventure. Avoid entering these circles or you will get incapacitated and sent back to just after the first boss platform. Also, you will need to find these spies. As you run through the corridors, these purple shadowy beings will spawn, showing you the way to find the spy. After finding all 3 spies, the shadowy beings will change, leading you to Executor Nizrek. Follow him to get to the second boss, Fangs of the Queen. There's 2 bosses to defeat, Nyx and Vix. Any damage inflicted on the bosses is shared. Nyx casts Shade Slash, a tank ability inflicting physical and shadow damage in a cone, and also leaves behind an echoing shade, so just move out of the way. Nyx also casts Duskbringer, a purple circle which inflicts damage to any players in range, so run out. In the meantime, Vix is casting Night Throw at players, inflicting physical damage every second for 3 seconds. And Vix also shoots out Ice Sickles at 2 players, inflicting frost damage to all targets within the dagger's line of travel. If you get hit, your movement speed is slowed down by 50% and you receive additional frost damage for 12 seconds. On Mythic, all players are hit with Ice Sickles. Stage 2 of the fight, Nyx and Vix will grow and start dashing on the platform, avoid standing in their path. Vix now casts Rime Dagger on the tank, dealing physical damage and inflicting 10 applications of freezing blood. This frost circle will decrease in size if at least 1 player is close by. If no players are inside, the tank will become frozen solid when reaching 16 stacks. And in the meantime, Nyx is now the one casting Night Throw and will still damage players using the Duskbringer ability. Next boss is the Coaglamation. Tank ability is Oozing Smash, slamming the target, inflicting shadow damage and reducing healing received by 30% for 10 seconds. So tanks, use your defensives. Vicious Darkness. The boss slams on the ground, knocking back players and releasing orbs of congealed black blood that start traveling towards it. Each orb that reaches the boss will restore 7% of its maximum health, so players need to absorb these. However, touching an orb will affect players with Corrupted Coating, which absorbs healing, so healers need to heal through. On Mythic, absorbing an orb will also leave a pool of black blood in its location, which does damage to any players in the pool and reduces their movement speed by 35%. Also on Mythic, the boss has an ability called Blood Surge, where the boss roars, inflicting 3.5 million shadow damage to players within 8 yards and creates a number of black pools around the area. Same as before, players standing in the pools will suffer ticking shadow damage and reduced movement speed by 35%. Upon reaching 100 energy, the boss throbs violently, releasing dark energy that inflicts massive shadow damage every second to all players. The last boss is Izo, the Grand Splicer. process of elimination is the tank ability. During the fight, the boss creates spheres that periodically move around, which cause shadow damage and knock back players on contact, so avoid these. From time to time, the boss also injects experimental strands into all players, inflicting shadow damage every 1.5 seconds for 6 seconds, something to keep healers on their toes. On Mythic, the boss takes the form of an Arubian Lord, slams to the ground with all her might, inflicting nature damage to all players, and an additional one-shotting nature damage to players within 12 yards, so run out of the circle. The slam awakens scarabs, which attack players. Their damage is increased each time they hit a player, and on the 5th hit, the scarab will explode and stuns players within 5 yards for 4 seconds. And lastly, Umbral Weave, the boss captures all players in shadowy webs, which cause shadow damage, rooting them into place for 12 seconds, so players need to destroy the webs to get out. And that's the overall guide on how to defeat the bosses in City of Threads. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Good luck in your dungeon adventures, and thank you for watching.